Agud Voch Raboisai. Live from, where are we? What is this? North Miami Beach. The Square. Here we go. Share sponsored by Miami Square, Yidel Weiss, and Heshi Tenenbaum, a daily MDY listener, hosted at Diesel Funding. What do they do here? Cash advance. Geschmack. Co-sponsors of the Shir. Thank you, Ari Mandel, and partner Usher, and Yankee Rosenberg. Yishkoyach Yankee. Wow. Sorry, this is a delay. Should be delayed. They told me, the handlers, the guys, it's 5 minutes away from your house. Don't worry about it. I'm in Surfside. I didn't bother asking North Miami Beach. It's all, it's Miami. Well, how far could it be already? It's over half an hour away. And it's Erev Shabbos. And by the way, I know you guys, you have Shabbos to make, but I have to give another shir also. So when this is over, I have to give Hebrew. Don't worry, I'm not going to do it here. Pack up, redo it, and go home over there. And there's not a lot of room because they're doing a bris. So go to the yard somewhere and we'll give the shir. All right. Yishkoyach for coming. I know it's late, Erev Shabbos. It's a longer daf, actually. We're going to go fast, and we're going to get through it. We're not going to do too many emails and stuff like that. Lower the joke thing. My name is Yaakov Friedman, and I started learning the daf with the MDY back at the beginning. Makis, Chus my Chavrusa, Rabbi Yaakov Mordechai Lustig, that he should have Refuah Shlema. Everyone knew him as a Gadol Yisrael and Havas Yisrael, but he's also a huge Daf Yomi, and Yerushalmi Yomi, Perik Mishnah Yomi, and Ach Yomi guy. He spent about 3 years lovingly pushing me to start learning the daf, so I decided to surprise him by learning Makis back in Nisan in his chus. And then he was so excited about this that he continued with it ever since. Rabbi Yaakov Mordechai ben Rav Moshe Chaim Zevachim just passed away earlier this evening, and I got back from Levai in Bet Shemesh a little while ago. One of my first thoughts was that I should continue learning the daf in his chus b'li neder. My chavrusa was a giver who saw such greatness in every Jew. He really taught us that when you give, that's when you really get it back. So let's keep giving and working hard to seeing the greatness in each other, in his chus and in his chus of us all. Yaakov Friedman MD. I'm going to speak about it tomorrow night, really, but I'll tell you real quickly because it just hit me. So Machshav went in. One of the biggest cases of, what did he say here? He was a giver. He really taught us that's when you give, that's when you really get it back. So I said this a bunch of times this month. I'm going to say it again today. I'll say it again tomorrow night. Last night we had with us David Salomon. He came to give, MDY. He gave one of the biggest donations of the year. And he wasn't part of MDY. But he wanted to, it was a conjunction of doing tzedakah, but also promote his company, ECAP here. So he called me up. I didn't want to take his call, the whole thing. How can you China with a donation? At the end, I called him back and he says, I want to give you this donation. So why don't you say so? Okay. But then I told him, I said, you got to do the daf. It's one thing to give a donation, but I can't really take it if you don't do the daf. Now I was messing with him. I figured we'll see if he takes my bluff or not. He said, fine, I'll try it out for a few days. Lamaisa, he's not missed a single day in 8-9 months. And he told me numerous times that it changed his life. He's so excited. He came to give us, and in return he got back something that he never imagined. He thought, okay, I'm going to do a little, tzedakah, da-da-da. No. So, this is true. Yaakov Friedman, MD. Here's a picture of the nifter. That's Rabbi Willig in the center. Okay.
Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Rebelli, I can't believe you're going to be in Hollywood, Florida tonight, and I'm here camping near Sarasota. Well, I'll try to make it back Sunday night to see you on the beach. And if not, Stamford, Connecticut. Keep on Daffin.
Listen, even if you schlepped it with him in that tiny little trailer that he has over there, he has room for that for the shtick. But anyways, kol hakavod. Michael Chessel. Hi, Rebelli. I'm 17 years old, live in Surfside. I've been doing the daf with you since Baba Basra and the Shears changed my life. I know you're coming to Miami today. I want to know if you're going to be in Surfside for Shabbos. Thank you for everything you taught me. Your Talmud, David Fried. Yes, I'm going to be in Surfside. I don't know if I should say the address. It's on Dickinson Avenue over there. It's in the 1800 block. 1800. Shmonim v'teisha is the last 2 digits. I don't want to, who knows today, days and age, but yeah, Be'ez Hashem, the bris is going to be there. We actually have Shachris there, so Shalom Zachar there. All right, let's jump into it. The breakfast is sponsored by Rebelli's Tamid in the room in honor of the Simcha Shalom Zocher and Bris, his grandson. The Masechet sponsor David Salomon, dedicated memory of Avi Mari Reb Shmuel Baruch ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Doiv Zichron Levracha, e-copiers. Masechet sponsored anonymous Nishmas Doidi Shlem Yehuda ben Shmuel Chaim Shokav Lo B'Kasher Kol Chayo, anonymous Nishmas Nachum Tzvi ben David, sponsored by Skybro Capital in honor of our friends Barry Kovacs, Taki and Shamshi Shlafrik for the devotion Torah study and the Shir. Joel Gedalius Nishmas, my father Jack Gedalius, anonymous Hatzlach Baruch Zevachim. Anonymous from London, Hatzlach B'Parnasa, Ari Simon, the Refuah Shlema of Imari Baruch Ben Miriam, Esther Walkenstein, Mazel Tov with my husband Kalman Natanel Walkenstein on his 40th birthday. Anonymous Baruch Ad Lidai, Baruch Sfinissim and Shoshana Lev, Yehuda Ben Yomen Ben Chava. Weekly sponsors Label and Libby Tenenbaum, Refuah Shlema, Bekarov Chaim Dov Ben Gittel Schonblum. Anonymous has a chos for seemingly never-ending business deal to close ASAP. Call sponsors for the month. Anonymous from London. Parnasa B'Shefa, MDY Art, Refuah Shlema Yonatan Eitan ben Basheva Bracha, Refuah Shlema Mordechai ben Esther, Refuah Hayelet Daniel Zev ben Ayelet Esther. Our boys are holding by the Mishnah Daf Kuf Gimel Amud Beis. Shmak. Fiji. Taka tastes good. Shkar, by the way, when we started the shir, so I would take my iPhone, put it on a little stand on the table, and every time somebody banged the table, so when you watch the older videos, there's a lot of jumping around. As a matter of fact, when we moved into MDY, so that's how it was. And then I looked at the back of the room and I was like, wow, there's a tall ceiling and there's nothing above the sinks. Let's build like a little, we built a little floor over there. It's one floor. It wasn't thought out well beforehand. We put a little staircase there, and that's where the camera guy sits, right above. So there's no jarring and jolting of the camera. Fast forward 7 years, and now you have new technology. So even if you bang on the table, it doesn't really shake the camera. Don't try it, but there's a gimbal here. This little thing is a gimbal, so it really eliminates a lot of that movement, which is very annoying when you watch the video afterwards. But a lot of things have changed, including the AI, which is unbelievable. I think it's was done a lot for the Torah. Just in the last 6 months, what changed. And we used to have 2 people working for us full time, which made a very, very high salary, 6-figure salary, or no, I shouldn't say that, but very high salaries. And they would produce. It would take them 2 days, 2 guys to produce one single animation. I don't know if you remember in Baba Kama we had the bull running, and every movement is a click and a this. And today AI does it all for you, and it's higher quality. It's a crazy thing. The world has advanced a lot, hopefully for Torah and for other stuff also, but mainly for Torah. Says the Mishnah. We're continuing to talk about the hides of the animals of the Beis Hamikdash. All the Karbanos had hides. What do you do with the hides? What? How do you know I didn't say it? I didn't. Okay. So we had a Mishnah yesterday. We'll discuss the Mishnah we discussed yesterday on Omen Aleph, and we continue. Have Shaitan to remind the Olam here. We had a cool little animation. Also, something like this. This Hefshet to remove the skin. Shmak. So, if the psul, let's say, became tameh before you remove the hide, the hide does not go to the kohen. So what do you do with it? Our boy said, what do you do with it? It doesn't go to the kohen. So then what do you do with it? Burn it where? You'd have to burn it outside of the Azara. Let's say you took off the hide and then a psul happened, or you're saying like then the kohanim are zoicha in the hide. Omer Reb Chanina is Zgan kohanim. Reb Chanina was not the kohen gadol; he was the Zgan, second in charge. I've never seen such a thing. I never saw them burning the hide. I think Gemara is going to have a whole question-answer kind of thing later on Amud Aleph. What do you mean? This gets burned? Yeah, you're right. That gets burned, but that's the mitzvah to burn it. Well, this gets burnt. Yeah, you're right. What he's saying basically is, I've never seen something become puzzle and then they had to burn the hide. And therefore what? I could learn from this. If let's say you take off the skin of a bechar, the firstborn animal that goes on the mizbeach, and you found out that it's a treifa afterwards, like something like this. Yoshi put this together with, we have 3D version of these animals, so he just added the like an X-ray vision of like a nail in its, I don't know what is that, its lungs. So let's say you took off the hide, and after you open up the animal, you find that it was a treifa. So the treifa actually happened before you took off the hide. It seems like the kohanim could use the hide, even though the animal was a treifa before you took off the hide. Why? Because it goes by when you discover the treifa, and you discover that it's a treifa after you took off the hide. Because somebody said, I never saw it. I never saw it is not a raya. Why? Maybe he just happened to space out when they were burning it. Maybe he wasn't there that day that they burned it. I mean, just because he didn't see it doesn't mean that that's the halacha. I'm going to pass in halacha because somebody testified he never saw it. If it happens, you have to burn it. Says the Gemara, we learned in the previous Mishnah, Omar Aleph, Kol shalei zocha mizbeach b'psara, as long as the mizbeach, top of the Kuf Gimel Omar Aleph, it says that if the mizbeach doesn't get the meat, lo zocha kohanim b'ira, then the kohanim don't get its hide. But the Mishnah on Omar Aleph doesn't make a distinction if it was taken off the body, not taken off, like our Mishnah makes a whole distinction. Even if they took off the hide before the zrika. Mani, so who does that go according to? Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Shimoni. This must be Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Shimoni. The blood of the zrika that you throw onto the mizbeach doesn't have the power to make the hide kosher. So what does have the power to make the hide kosher? The meat. The meat, if you put the meat on the mizbeach, says the Mishnah Omar Aleph, then you could use the hide. It has nothing to do with the zrika sadab. The problem is, what do you do with our Mishnah over here? Aim a seifa. So we'll start this. Just a very simple chart. Let's see how it goes. If you take off the skin and then you do zrika, it doesn't go to the kohen. That goes according to Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon. That what? You just said that the blood ein dam meratza. What does it say in our Mishnah? You take off the skin, and then it becomes puzzle. It goes to the kohen. That must go according to Rebbe that says dam is meratza. So we have a contradiction between the Reish and the Seifa. The Reish goes like Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon that blood is not meratza, and the Seifa goes according to Rebbe that blood is meratza. And the Seifa kol hakadosh b'shir Rebbe Psul kadem Rebbe Sheitam and Rebbe like Yehanim. Lacher Sheitam Kehanim Rebbe must go according to Rebbe. Domar hadam meratza that the blood thrown in the mizbeach is what causes a ritzui, a kapara. It's a done deal. So it's a question. Reisha Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon, Seifa Rebbe. How can that be? That the Reisha goes according to Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon, and the Seifa goes like Rebbe. Rav Amar with the Reisha Rebbe Lazar with the Reisha Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon Seifa Nami Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon. Sorry, I skipped. Omar Abai with the Seifa Rebbe he Reisha Nami Rebbe. So we're gonna go like this. Okay. So now you can see that the Reisha and the Seifa line up. They're both Rebbe who says Dam is Meratza. Just what? Rebbe says it never happens that they take off the skin before the zrika. It's like almost impossible. You have to do zrika right away. Now, if you did take off the skin before the zrika, then the zrika is meratza. But it never happens. Rav Amar, the Reisha Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon. Now, let me just, maybe I could do it in a different way. And Rava says both the Reisha and the Seifa are, you're right, it's one Tana, but not Rebbe, it's Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon. Seifa Nami, the Reisha Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon, Seifa Nami, Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon, Umay Koydem Hefshet, Umay Lach Hefshet. What does it mean before and after taking off the skin? Doesn't mean literally taking the skin off and not taking off the skin. What it means is before and after Zrika. That's what it means. It's a code word for Zrika. Koydem Sheniru Lehefshet, Acher Sheniru Lehefshet. When it's possible to do skinning of the animal when it's not possible to do skinning, meaning before and after Zrika. Now, where do we see this machlokes of Rebbe and Rebbe Lazar? My Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Shimon. You have to go all the way to Boca, you said, or to Boynton? How far away is it? Oivey, an hour. And what time is it now?
2.
So 3 o'clock. So you have 2 hours to get there. I'll give you some lessons in driving. Drive like a Floridian, like a New Yorker. But kids, you'll be fine. Right? One of the Saul guys will give you the. Rabbi Yomer Hadam Meratz Ala Or B'fnei Atzmoi. Oh, the Sanya. Rabbi Yomer Hadam Meratz Ala Or B'fnei Atzmoi. So Rabbi is basically saying that we have 2 separate entities over here. We have the hide, the skin, and the meat, and they work independently of each other. So the blood could be meratza the skin, even if let's say you have a problem with the basar, not a problem for the skin. You do zrika on the mizbeach, you take the blood, you spritz it on the mizbeach, it makes the hide good. Ukshu and basar, just if it's attached to the meat, it's one thing. Then noila by psul. Then if something happens to that whole piece, Stam Zrika, I'm just gonna say those who know. There's a machlokes if what's the biggest busha in this generation? The biggest busha. Think about the biggest busha that could happen to you. What? That's your biggest busha? Public speaking. If that's the biggest busha, I have busha every day, right? So Yeshayimrim, I'm not saying this is the Kula Alma, but Yeshayimrim, that if you take your tissue and you throw it at a garbage can and you miss Barabim, and then you have to take that walk of shame all the way to the garbage can, bend down. That could be one of the biggest. I'm just throwing it out there. Right? You know what I'm talking about? Younger guys know what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. Halavai, that should be the biggest busha. Yeah. I just thought about it because it says Zrika over here. Nothing. You know how my brain works. I'm talking about Zrika. I'm thinking about tissues in a garbage can. Oh, so if something happened, it developed a psul in this meat that has a wrapping of skin on it, so it doesn't matter before Zrika, bein la'achar Zrika, then everything, then it's one piece. No, they don't work independently. And when the skin is together with the meat, if there's a psul before the zrika, then the skin and the meat are the same. Achar zrika, once you threw the blood, if the meat was okay for 1 minute, then you remove the skin and you give the skin to the kohen. So the Gemara says that this machlokes that we just said between Rebbe and Rebbe Lazar. Here we go. I made my own little thing. I'll show you real quickly what Yoshi did. I didn't like it today, so I didn't want to bother him Erev Shabbos. This is what he did. It's too much for me. I did something simpler like this. We have Rebbe that says the blood is maratza. And then we have Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon says blood is not maratza. Again, blood. Can blood affect the kashrus of the hide by itself? Rebbe says yes. Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon says no. Now, the Gemara is going to bring 2 other Tanaim that lived before Rebbe and Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon and say maybe it's connected. Here we go. That Rebbe Lazar says the blood, the words are almost the same. And the Gemara is going to say no, they're not the same machlokes. Da meratza beli basar. And that's Rebbe Eliezer's shita. You see, so green lines up with green. The Gemara wants to say that they too say the same thing. And Rebbe Lazar Shimon says that Dam Zamaratza says the same thing like Rebbe Shua that says Dam Meratza beli basar. Maybe it's the same machlokes. So let's see inside. Yeah, now it's just easy to understand. Lema b'de Rebbe Eliezer Rebbe Shua k'miflagi. Rebbe and Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon. Yeah, famous Rebbe Shimon by Chay's son. Those 2 on top have the same machlokes as the 2 on the bottom. Rebbe Lazar and Rebbe Shua. It says in the pasuk, "Vasiso elasecha habasar adam." So what's the problem with this pasuk? You should do your oila, habasar v'hadam. Why these 2 things together? You should do the oila, you should throw the blood and finished. you should, I don't know what, put the meat on the mizbeach. Why does it say habasar vehadam? What's the connection between the meat and the blood? Rabbi Shua Omer, imein dam, imein basar. That they're connected. And if blood, so now you don't have blood to do uzrika with it. So what do you do with the meat? Just throw it out? Maybe I'll think, put it on the mizbeach. So he says, no, you can't put it on the mizbeach. If you can't put the blood, you can't put the meat. So they're connected. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, dam af b'shem basar. Shenemar v'dam zvachecha yishafech. If the meat's a problem with the meat, put the blood on. They're not connected. So why does it say in the pasuk the two things? It seems like they're both connected to each other. You need to toss the meat into the fire. You can't place it on the grill like we do. You know, you take it, anybody throw a steak on his grill? No. You take it, you put it on the grill. Not on the mizbech. On the mizbech, it's tossing. You must toss. We had it already in the Masechta. There's a space here. Let me show you. You guys ready? Here we go. This is how our guy did it from scratch, yeah? We developed this. The kevesh, there's a gap between, you see that? Between the ramp and the mizbeach, there's a little gap. And memela, the kohen must, now let me go to the next one. The kohen must do this. He stands. He doesn't go onto, he stands on the ramp and he must toss it onto, I would have stopped a little bit, yeah. He's now like hovering over that gap. I don't like that so much. Fine. So he tosses it into the fire from that point. There's you guys are familiar. You know that guy that's not the best bacher in yeshiva, and then all of a sudden he chaps a chizuk. You know, he chaps this chizuk, gets a big chaskus, and all of a sudden, before you know it, a day later he's already giving musar. You know those guys. Like, who are you? You're laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You were just doing the same thing yesterday. What are you giving me musar? What are you crazy? So it happened in the yeshiva, and one of the Roshivas, he quotes this Gemara. He says there was a space between the kevesh and the mizbeach. You're going up the ramp. You got to give it a space before you become Mr. Mizbeach. You know what I mean? Like you're still in Ali. Okay, wait. A lot of times it happens with Bali Tshuva. You know, a guy becomes a Bali Tshuva, all of a sudden he's giving drushes and giving chizuk. What? Nothing against Bali Tshuvas, but you got to wait, a few days before you start, a few hours, whatever. Give a little revach. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. You know that guy. Don't be that guy. Says Gemara Leimaman. He's the biggest schmoozer in middle Shemona Esrei, middle Chazar Shatz. All of a sudden he heard in the shir that you're not supposed to talk about Shemona. All of a sudden he's shrying, shah, smacking people. And chill. What are you doing? Chill. Okay. Zok the Gemara. So let's go back to this. Yeah, it lines up very nicely. Rebbe, who says that blood is maratza, lines up beautifully with Rebbe Eliezer that says that maratza without basar. But now we know what that means. That one works independently of the other. And Rebbe Shimon holds like Rebbe Shua, lines up beautifully. Blood is not maratza. Because they work together. Alib says the Gemara, no. Maybe everybody agrees to Rebbe Eliezer in the right bottom corner that dam is maratza without basar, meaning that they work independently. Maybe everybody holds. Maybe even Rebbe Eliezer Rebbe Shimon holds like him. Keep the Rebbe Shua. But in Rebbe Shua, we're going to have a little bit of a machlokes. That what? Okay, that lines up beautifully. If you say dam is not maratza, Rebbe Eliezer Rebbe Shimon holds like Rebbe Shua. But what about Rebbe, who says that the blood by itself could be maratza? When it comes to the meat, what happens when I tell you that you have to toss out your whole oila? So the owner has to bring another oila, has to go to the store, unfortunately, and spend another $500 on another sheep and bring another oila. Does the kohen lose anything from that? Zero. Why? Because the kohen was going to get the hide, and he's going to get the hide now from the second animal. But now, if you tell me after the zrika, the hide was supposed to be the kanim, now it doesn't, So now the Kohanim have a loss. I feel the Rishua Moed, maybe Rishua will say in this case that it doesn't work like this. Why? Why would I say such a thing? Because the Gemara says, Eved. We see a similar thing when it comes to B'di'eved. L'chatchila B'di'eved. In other words, after the fact. It's not Nitma Basa Nifsal. If the meat became possible or went outside of the base of Mikdash, and we're talking about Rabbi Shua now. So Rabbi Shua says, don't throw the blood. Rabbi Shua says, you know what? Don't throw the blood. But if you didn't listen to me and you threw the blood, you do get a kapara. So to over here, if you didn't listen, okay, so the Kohanim get the hide. Very good. Now we have a much easier sugya. Says the Gemara, Omer Reb Chanina's Gana Kohanim, said in the Mishnah, I've never seen hide that had a psul that goes to the Beis Hadesh and that gets burnt. And we had a machlokes. Rabbi Kiva says, oh, it's a raya that you don't burn the hide, you give it to the kohen. The Chacham say, just because somebody said he never saw it doesn't mean anything. So ask the Gemara, V'lai, what, he never saw? What do you mean? All these years he was in the Beis Hamikdash, he never saw them burn hide? You have the bulls on Yom Kippur. You have different bulls that the goats of Yom Kippur. Certain times you have to burn a goat on the Beis Hadesh. He never saw it. Says Gemara, of course he saw it. The mitzvah like Amrina. I'm not talking about a mitzvah that happens every year. I'm talking about when you mess up and you have to burn it. That he's never seen. Says Gemara, if it became possible before the removal of the hide and before the zrika, what happened then? What, it never happened before they took off the hide that a sheretz, a dead rat, touched the animal, a tummy kohen touched it? Never happened. Of course it happened over the years. Chal's kamrina. I'm talking about where the animal didn't have the hide on. That he's never seen. As Gemara, but there is a case after you remove the hide. Yeah, you're talking about after you remove the hide. Here is the case. And before Zrika, we just said that according to Rabbi Shimon, it's still on the board. Show it here. According to Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, dam is damaratza. So what's the answer? That's according to Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. What about Rebbe? He holds like Rebbe. He holds like the one on the right. It could be, you could hold like Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon. Just like we said, that Rebbe holds that it never happens in the Beis Hamikdash that they take off the hide before the Zrika. So we're going to say the same exact thing in Rebbe Elazar Shimon. It never happened like that. Oh, as the Gemara, that happens many times in the Beis Hamikdash, where you open up an animal, you see that I was in a shlachtais, I saw many treifas. Unfortunately, too many. I would have to ask the professionals. It's probably more than 50% is treif. It's a big issue for people that are making kosher. It's a big expense. What do you do with all these treifas? You have to sell to a guy. That's why kosher, by the way, costs a lot of money. That's one of the reasons. I'm not giving excuses for them, but it's very, very difficult to make money on kosher because of this issue. You buy a $2,000 animal, then you find some sort of thing in the lung or the heart, and it's 50% of the time, let's say, and now you have to figure out what to do with this animal. And you have to give it to the non-kosher line, and it's a whole hassle, and you have to market, you have to this, and you have to make a deal with the guy beforehand that he's going to take your animals, otherwise you're stuck with all these animals that are worthless to you. So that happens in the Beis Hamikdash. So what do you do with the hide? Of course you saw them burning hide. Why are you telling me I never seen anybody burn hide? No, the kohen gets the hide in that case. Here, Rebbe Kiva said that you see it even in a Bechar, that the kohanim can use the hide if you found the treifa, meaning all korbanos, the kohanim get to use the hide. But the Gemara has a basic question. What did he add? Rebbe Kiva says, oh, you see from Chanina that if a Bechar, you find that he's a treifa. So what if a Bechar? What did he add? Rebbe Chanina says, all korbanos, if you find the treifa, then the kohanim could use the hide. Comes Rebbe Kiva says, oh yeah, and by the way, a Bechar also. Yeah, isn't the Bechar one of the korbanos? What did he add over here? Why is a b'char different than anything else? Says the Gemara, I'll tell you what the chiddush is. I feel b'gvulim. A b'char, you could eat it, even if this happened outside, even let's say in Bet Shemesh, outside, you found a mum in the b'char, the kohanim could eat, could use and benefit from the hide. It says Rabbi Yochanan, halacha Kiva, that the hide of the b'char goes to the kohen. But he only said this, you need a professional. That's the whole issue, because if the b'char has let's say a little hole in its ear, then it's a psul, it's a mum, then the kohen gets to use it outside of the Beis Hamikdash. If not, he has to bring it all the way to the Beis Hamikdash. It's a big hassle for him. So every kohen could go and take a punch hole thing and punch a hole right through the ear. Oh, my animal's a balmum. I don't have to. No. So first of all, it's a big isser. It's a hole that we're going to learn in b'charis. But the bottom line is, you need a mumcha. He can't decide on his own. You need a professional to say this is a mum. And then the Gemara retracts and says, no, the halacha is not like Rabbi Akiva, according to Rashi. At the end of the day, the halacha is like chacham. Basar, and then Rashi takes out these words, basar b'kfura v'ar b'sreifa. The halacha is like chachamim, that no, just because Reb Chanina never saw it in the Beis Hamikdash doesn't mean that's the halacha. All right, says the Mishnah. Parman esrafim usirim and esrafim. So you have these bulls that get burned once in a while, and you have the goats that get burned. In other words, not your typical animal carbon that you bring and you put on the mizbeach. There's something that get burned. B'zman sheim nisrafim kimitzvasa. Nisrafim beis hadeshen u'metamim begodim. Where do you burn it? Beis hadeshen, and it makes the clothing tamei. So there's a special halacha that the people that burn these animals in the Beis Hadeshen, there's a special place called Beis Hadeshen. Do we put it in today? No. What's this? I forgot what this is. We'll watch it. Oh, here we go. Let me just pause it here for a second. That's in 10 seconds. So you have Beis Hadeshen. I'm going to show you a picture of Beis Hadeshen here. A special halacha that if you're the one carrying the animal to the Beis Hadeshen, you become so tamei that your clothing becomes tamei. And if you didn't burn it properly, nisrafim bebeis habira, you burn it inside the Beis Hamikdash. We'll see exactly what Beis habira is. But then it doesn't give you tumah to your clothing. They would carry it on these poles. Imagine you have a bull. How much does a bull weigh, Rabbi Isai? Berach. A ton? How much is a ton? 1,000 pounds? 2,000 pounds. A ton is 2,000 pounds? Yeah, it weighs 2,000 pounds. Yeah. Weighs a ton. So you had 4 people carrying a ton. That's a ton of weight, yeah? That's 500 pounds a person. That's very, very heavy. So that's what it seems like. 4 people would carry it on like two beams. As soon as the first ones left the wall of the Azara, they became tummy. The ones behind are still inside, right? First the 2 front ones go out, then the 2 back guys. The second guys only become tummy when they leave. Yotzu, once all 4 leave, they all become tummy. When the fire grabs most of the animal, then they become tummy. If they chop up the meat, once the meat is all chopped up and everything, it's all destroyed, then there's no tumah. Let's see now. Now we can see. First of all, what's Sirim and Esrafim? So we have, here's a bunch of Sirim and Esrafim. Par Koina Mashiach, Par Chadas and Yom Kippur, Par Helam Davar. Remember when Sanhedrin paskins wrongly, they say there's a certain type of chaylev of the animal's mutter, so all of Klal Yisrael gets together, they buy 1 bull. Then you have the sar of Avodas Kechavim. If they make a mistake, they do Avodah Zarah. And you have the sar on Yom Kippur, as the sar La Azazel, and its counterpart, that's the sar. So let's now see this.
פרים הנשרפין ושעירים הנשרפין בזמן שהן נשרפין כמצוותן, נשרפין בבית הדשן ומטמאין בגדים.
There's a special fireplace outside of this room.
היא פסולה, היא פסולה. קח אותה מכאן.
נשרפין בבית הבירה, ואינן מטמאין
There's a special
בגדים.
fire inside the Beis
היו
Hamikdash.
סובלין אותו במותות. יצאו הראשונים חוץ לחומת העזרה, והאחרונים לא יצאו.
So as the first one goes out, you see he changes colors to
אינן
Tumah.
מטמאין
Comes
בגדים.
Tameh, then the second one becomes Tameh.
יצאו אלו ואלו מטמאין בגדים. רבי שמעון אומר, אינן מטמאין עד שיוצאת האור ברובן.
He says only when most of it
כך
grabs,
הבשר,
but
אין
now once it
השורף
gets
מטמא
completely
בגדים.
devoured, then whoever does it doesn't become Tameh. Okay. My biro. Oh, turning of the daf, Yishkoyach. Turning of the daf, Adar Global, Special Experts in International Payments, Encore Healthcare, L'schus Refuah Shlema L'Yeled Michal Ben Shulamis, L'schus Hatzlacha L'Klal Klal Yisrael. Bira in Hebrew is the capital. So I just figured, because it's Erev Shabbos and we have nothing better to do right now, I wanted to know if the Olam here knows what is the capital of Canada. Okay, hold on.
I don't know.
You sure not Toronto?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. What's the capital of Turkey?
Istanbul?
What? Wrong. Yeah. Okay, that's why I asked. Okay, good. But nobody got Toronto. Oh, I'm very disappointed. But in Turkey, fine. Those are the only two I have for today. Next. My bira. What's this bira? So we saw in the video here, he had some sort of fire in the Beis Hamikdash on the side under those pillars. It's on the Harabais. It's not in the Beis Hamikdash Harabais. Rish Lakish Amar Kol Habayis Kuloi Kori Bira. The entire Beis Hamikdash is called the bira Shenemar Habira Asher Hachinoisi. Okay. Omer Rav Nachman, Omer Rav Ravo. Shloisha Beis Hadshanim Hein. There's 3 Beis Hadeshans. Beis Hadeshan Gadol Hayu Ba'Azara. There's a very large one inside the Azara. Shesham Sarfim Sulei Kachim Kadashim Veimuri Kachim Kalim. That's where they would burn all the Kachim. What's a Kachim again? Chatos. More. Huh? Oila. What else? Asham. What else? Shalmi Tzibur. So any kachim that became possible, let's say Tameh touched it, whatever, you burn it right there inside the Beis Hamikdash on the very large Beis Hadeshan, and also the innards of the kachim kalim, upar men esrafim, usir men esrafim, shir ben psul kalim zrika. So the kachim kalim, the murim, which usually go on the mizbeach, but if something happened to it, a psul, then you put it on this fire. That's Beis Hadeshan number 1. Ubeis Hadeshan acher hoya b'har habayis. There's another one outside of the Beis Hamikdash on the Harabais. Shesham sarfim parim and esrafim, musirim and esrafim, shira be'em psul achar zrika. That's where you do the parim and esrafim that the psul happened after zrika. After zrika. Uchim mitzvasan, and when you want to burn it, like the mitzvah tells us to burn it on the Beis Hadeshan, chutz l'shalosh machnes. That's outside the 3 camps. I should have had our famous picture of the 3 camps. You have the machna of the Shechina, which is in the Beis Hamikdash. Then you have the Leviyah. Then you have Yisrael. The kids are outside. Let's call it the Ira Hatika today. That's the 3 machnos. Tani Levi, and this is a very slight variation of what we just read. Shloisha Beis Hadeshanim had Shanamim. There's 3 Beis Hadeshans. Beis Hadeshan and Goloi Bazar Shisham Sarvim Suli Kachim Kadashim Veimuri Kachim Kalim Parvazim Ziram Sarvim Psuk. Oh, the difference is right over here. Bein koidem zrika, bein la'achar zrika. Before and after zrika. Oh, ubeis hadeshan acharei b'arabayis. Shesham sarfim parman esrafim siman esrafim shirbim psul b'tziasa. So here the difference is on the second one. The only psul you do over here, before we make a distinction before zrika and after zrika. That's the first Beis Hadeshan and the second one. Now we're saying both before zrika and after zrika go into one Beis Hadeshan. The second Beis Hadeshan is for a psul that happened for Yaitse. You took it outside of the Beis Hamikdash by mistake, so you have to burn it. And this is the same as the first brayso, chutz l'shalosh machas. If you do, when you have to burn something, and that's the mitzvah to burn it, not because it's a psul, because that's the mitzvah, they have to take it outside of the three camps. Boy, Rabbi Yirmiyah, I'll tell you real quickly because I like saying this thing, say it every few weeks, but it has to do with the parasha, with Yaakov Avinu. We know it's very famous that Yaakov Avinu, when Pari asked him how old you are, so he said, "Yimei shnei chayai mat v'roim," very few, very bad, and Yaakov Avinu got punished for every word that he said. And the question is, the Medrash says that he got punished because look what Hashem did for him. It's not karsatayv. Hashem saved him from Esav. Hashem saved him from Lavan. Hashem gave him back Dinah, and Hashem gave him back Yosef. So, but the question is, but didn't he have bad years while he was waiting for all those years for Yosef and for Dinah? Didn't it cause him a lot of tzar? It's like saying, oh, you have no karsatayv. The person was healed from cancer. Okay, but during the 5 years of chemo, wasn't that a tremendous burden? And the guy was thinking, who knows what is going to happen to him and his family and his children and all the trips to the hospital. So why can't you talk about it? Why can't you say I had bad years? He was scared for his life, and he had to split his family into two because Esav is going to come with 400 men and kill him. It's not a trauma. So the answer is because just to remember this idea, talk about it a lot. It's the same idea over and over. That Rabbi Akiva, when he went to a place, and he comes with his donkey and his cat and his rooster, and he knocks on the door, and they say, no, we don't have room for you. He knocks on the door. He's stuck. Nobody wants to accept him into the house. So he goes out and he pitches a tent, and in the middle of the night, a lion came and ate his donkey, and he said, what did he say? One of those. And then the cat ate his rooster, blew out his. Did I say it came with a cat? A rooster and a flame, and the wind came and took out his flame. But then he realized, and he kept on saying, "Kol man dov rachman al tav ovid." Everything Hashem does is for the best, and he only realized afterwards that they came to the city and they took everybody, and had he been a guest there like everybody else, it would have been no good. And that's the idea of Kol Madav Rachman L'Tavav, and everything Hashem does is for the better. And Gamzu L'Tavav, there's a whole shaila, which one's better? The Nachumish Gamzu is a bigger madrega to say Gamzu L'Tavav. It's a madrega of not trying to see the outcome like Rebbe Kiva. He saw that, oh, they came to the city, but even without the outcome that we see and we understand, just this is for the better. This is how it has to be. This is the way Hashem designed it. And the same thing with Yaakov Avinu. It's not, later on he got Dinah back, later on Yosef. This is what was supposed to happen. Yaakov Avinu should have taken it in a different way, and the fact that he didn't, he got punished for that. All right, so Zok the Gemara over here, by Rabbi Yirmiyah. How much time do we have? We're 44 minutes in. Okay, we're going to hustle. By Rabbi Yirmiyah, Lina Mahu Shetoyel Beparim Anisrafim Ubesirim Anisrafim. Lina is when the carbon stays overnight. And does it ruin a bull or a goat that is supposed to be burnt? What's the question? That works on meat that you're supposed to eat. And something that you eat, another feeds you. Whew. Cash advance. That's, you know what I'm saying? They don't mess around with the cheap water. The Fijis. I don't know. Anybody else like smart water? I'm a smart water guy. No, not really. It's just me. I convince myself I convince myself that it has a different flavor. So this is also very bemis. I don't know why. I never appreciated it like I did today. Moichel. In Eretz Yisrael, I drink from the sink. Just goes through a filter in my house, and then it cools it. It's geschmack. They don't have, the trucks coming with those big 5 gallons, and the wife doesn't know how to do it, and you have to get a machine that flips it over. No, it comes out of the sink. Great. So I have a few cool questions here. Lina Mao should tell the parliament does overnight. Here, let's just show you real quickly. Remind the Olam. Where was that video? Lina video. Oh.
שם מצווה תחילת השלמים, מה?
Remember this one? Oh. Gumbach, whatever his name is.
Gewalt, Psulina, Abasar Posul.
This guy just became about Tshuva probably a week ago.
Abasar Posul, Koifer, זה איסור מדאורייסו.
Good night, Bomba. You're right. The meat of the Korban Kodesh becomes disqualified if it was left overnight. But the meat of the Korban Shelamim is still kosher since it's eaten for 2 days and 1 night.
הבנתי. סוף סוף הבנתי. Thanks.
אתה חייב להצטרף ל-MDY. זה לא הדף, זה היומי. All right, Gishmak. Oh, let me just show the oilam here real quickly. The everybody behave nicely. Hold on, we're doing. Tazoi. Yankee, wave. You're on camera. Givaldik. I don't know if I didn't see him here, but I guess he is. No. Okay. Excellent. Zog the Gemara boy Rabbi 5 minutes. Lina Mao Shatoil Beparman Asor B'Sirman Asrafa. Me, I'm reading Kimahanya Lina B'Basa the Barachila. It makes a lot of sense on something that's edible. Avahanid La B'nei Achila Nino. The bull and the Sar had Asrafim. They're designed to be burnt from the beginning. Loi Lina, this overnight thing doesn't pass them. Or Dilma Loishna, or perhaps it doesn't make a difference. Amarava Hamisei Abaya Leila Abaya. Abaya asked me this exact question. And I told him. B'Shavin, and there's no Machlekes between Shimon and Chacham. Shimchisha B'Achilas Parmu Sirfasim Shlo Yasaklom. That if he had a thought to eat this bull is supposed to be burnt, and he thought to himself a machshav of pigul. As he's shechting it, he's saying, "I'm going to eat this in 3 days from now." That's nothing. It's not edible. It's a bull that has to be burnt, not eaten. My love, the midachshav pasla. So since there's no concept of pigul by this par, so therefore there's no lina either. Lina nami loy pasla. That's what Rava tells Abaya. There's no lina. There's no overnight. Just like there's no pigul, there's no overnight. Says maybe there's no thought of pigul, but there is a problem of lina. Tashma. So I'll bring you a rayo. It says paraman esrafim, siman esrafim, mayalim behem mishugdashu. There's mi'ila. In other words, if you try to use one of these bulls, take it for a ride, use it as your tractor for a day, but it was designed to go to the Beis Hamikdash, to be the bull that gets burned. You owe the Beis Hamikdash 25% penalty, plus you have to bring a carbon. Nishchatu, once it was shechted, huchshuruli possible b'tvul yoyim u'mechsukipurim u'belina. Then the meat becomes available that if a tvul yoyim, somebody that's tameh, went to the mikveh that day, but he's waiting for shkiyah to happen, or he has to bring a carbon the following morning, or lina, it becomes possible. My love, lina's basar. Aren't we talking? What does lina mean? That the meat stayed overnight. La lina simur. We're not talking about the meat. We're talking about the parts, the meat parts that go on the mizbeach. A few parts, like the skirt steak, the kidneys, that has a problem of lina. What? Oh, 2-year anniversary kidney. Today. Wow. So yeah, let's say Shalom Aleichem. He's all decked out in the MDY gear. Where's the kidney? It's a little lina. No, they took it out.
No, they give you an extra one instead of taking it out.
Really? What's he have 3 kidneys now?
3.
One of stam is sitting there. It's like a parasite. It works a little bit.
Unbelievable.
No, the bad one works.
Yeah. They're not totally good. Yeah.
And as soon as they put it in, you feel like a new mensch.
Unbelievable.
I heard that the guy that gets the kidney, he recuperates quicker than the guy that gave it. Yeah, you heard this also? Because the guy that gets it is sick a little bit, so he starts recuperating. He's like feeling better already. The guy that gave it was healthy. That's what a guy that gave a kidney told me. So he just told it to me now. I don't remember who it was. Somebody came to share. He was a guy, a big Bal Chesed. Oh, Maybe it was Meyer Fischel. Meyer Fischel, I know Gabe. Is he the one that told me? He's the one that told me. Crazy. You know the guy that gave it to you?
I met him 10 months and 3 days later.
Yeah.
Sitting and learning. 53-year-old guy.
A tzaddik.
Totally.
Wow. Crazy.
A Cohen, nonetheless.
Give him a shout out. Can you say his name? No. You don't say his name. Right. You're a tzaddik, whoever you are. You know who you are, you're a tzaddik. All right, you went through that organization that does it, that whole renewal. Unbelievable. Wow. I said, I think I can do a lot of stuff, but I can't. It was my official that told it to me. It's on my screen. Shkoyach, Mark. You want to see? Here. Oh, no. You already took it out. I said I could do a lot of stuff, but to give my kidney, I can't picture myself doing it. It's like, no, I'm saying if it's somebody maybe that I really, that you're trying to give because of him? No, I'm saying like you're inspired by.
You got called, yeah.
Oh, you got called. Wow. So I'm going to stop right here. I don't want to discourage you. No, I'm just saying like to go under the knife, to go into surgery, you have to be a selfless person. It's unbelievable.
It's a total chesed.
I had surgery on my knee, as you know from basketball and everything. You can see my knees now messed up. It goes in the opposite direction. I need surgery actually, but I can't do it because of shear. I'm gonna wait until one day when I don't want to ruin my streak because of my surgery. But I remember having surgery. It's like not a good feeling getting up from surgery. You feel like a truck hit you. Coming out of anesthesia, all that. All right, a bunch of tzaddikim in this world. You're a tzaddik also for even thinking about it.
Sure.
So Zok the Gemara. I have no idea where we are now. So we're talking about being over on Me'ila by using this bull. Once it's shechted, so now it becomes, so we're talking about, that's how we got into it, because we're talking about the kidneys. My love, Linas Basar. We're talking about overnight of the kidneys. But wait a minute, it doesn't match the end. You're over Milan, all of them in the fire pit until the meat goes. What's the word in English? How to say yutach? It's consumed. With the seifa basar reishanayim basar. It says it's talking about basar in the seifa, so it has to match. It has to. No, midirio. Who says it has to match the reish in the seifa? Seifa basar. The second part of the mission is talking about meat. Reishay murim, and the first part is talking about kidneys. Tashma. But here's a raya. The Tani Levi Shira bem sulbitziasan. It says that something happened as they were going out of the Beis Hamikdash. My lav lina. What happened? That it was overnight. Loi psul tuma psul yitzia. A different psul. The psul that someone that was tummy touched it, and a psul of going out of the Beis Hamikdash. Boyer Belazar. Another question, and we're going to finish with this one. Another 5-6 lines. Yitzia ma'u shetoil beparim anisrafim sirim asrafim. If before the zrika of the blood, these bulls left the Beis Hamikdash, does it ruin the bull? Ma'ikam and Boyer. So the problem is, what happens to these bulls, Rabbi Isai? What do you do with them? You take them out of the Beis Hamikdash and you burn them. So now they went out of the Beis Hamikdash before the Zrika. So, but they have to go out anyway. Maybe we shouldn't make it such a big deal out of it. What's the problem? So they left. They're going to leave anyway. Because the problem is, according to the Mandam, it says it's not their time to go out yet. They jumped the gun. Maybe that's only there's such a thing by the meat of this animal. Because it's not, you don't have to bring the meat out. But maybe since these bulls have to leave completely, so maybe if you took them out before the zrika of the blood, it's not a big deal. But maybe there's such a thing. Listen, if you jump the gun, it's possible. Tashma. And here it is, the Tani Leva Shira by Psul B'Tziasa. It says that there's a psul when it went out. My lab psul yitzia, certainly like what we said before. L'chayr, we're talking about a psul of going out, and here, no. So it says mamish like leaving the Beis Hamikdash makes this meat possible. Loi psul tuma psul lina. So I could change the answer. In other words, I could do it any way I want. Before I said it's the psul yitzia because that fit me. Then, in other words, I was just pushing you off. Now I'm going to push you off also. I'm going to tell you I don't have a good raya from here because maybe I'm talking about a different psul, not the psul of leaving. It's not a raya that if it leaves, it's possible. Because maybe I'm talking about a psul of tuma or a psul of overnight. Rabbi Sai, have a good Voch. And for you guys, a good Shabbos, a wonderful day. Thank you for coming. Sorry I was late. Great meeting everybody.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.